Ozonna is dead. Ugonna and children banished to Umucha. Ebubechukwu born in exile. Ugonna dies. The queen raises Ebubechukwu and Chioma. Ebubechukwu becomes a pilot. Chioma a doctor. Uchenna and Chukwuemeka become successful businessmen. Messengers from Umucha meet King Ezenaya, who delays their request. This will read like a chapter in a rich historical drama. The return that was not promised. The rains had returned to Umucha, washing away the dust of 10 bitter years. Crops were green again. The streams sang, and yet the oracle's words lingered over the village like a shadow. A tree without its branches is still broken. Go and find the children you cast away. The elders gathered beneath the great Iroko tree, their faces lined with both age and shame. In hushed voices, they chose 4 wise men and 2 leaders of Umuada to carry their plea to Umuachara. The messengers left at dawn, their bare feet raising small clouds of red earth as they walked. They crossed hills, waded through streams, and slept under skies heavy with stars. By the 3rd day, the towers of Umuachara's royal palace rose before them, carved from stone and guarded by warriors whose spears gleamed in the sun. The gates that did not open easily. The gates of the palace were shut when they arrived. 2 guards, broad-shouldered and silent, stood like statues. What brings the people of Umucha to the house of Ezenaya? One asked. The eldest messenger bowed so low, his forehead touched the ground. We come in peace. Our land seeks those we once rejected, the children of Ozonna. The gods have commanded it. The guards exchanged glances, then disappeared behind the gate. The wait was long enough for the messengers to feel the weight of their mission pressing against their ribs. At last, the gates creaked open. Ezenaya sat upon a lion, carved throne in a hall so vast it swallowed sound. He was tall, his robes deep red, his eyes sharp as a hawk's. You come from the same land that chased a widow into the bush, he said without greeting, and no collar nut offer. The land that shed her husband's blood? The messengers bowed again. Yes, your majesty, we have come in repentance. The gods have spoken, our land will never be whole until the children return. Ezenaya rose slowly and said, repentance is easy when the stomach is empty, but I do not decide such matters in a day. I will speak to the gods, I will call my elders. Return after 2 Ike market days, 8 days. The messengers accepted his words with bowed heads, but his final sentence stung like a thorn. Do not mistake my delay for agreement. The river you crossed may not welcome you again. While Umucha waited, the children they had cast away lived far from the village's square. Ebubechukwu, born in exile after Ugonma's death, now ruled the skies. As captain of Ebube Air, she flew across nations, her voice calm and steady over the intercom as passengers trusted her with their lives. Chioma, the healer, wore a white coat in Umuchara's grand hospital. Her hands stitched torn flesh, her eyes calmed restless spirits. Patients called her Dr. Nwa Ugonma. Uchenna and Chukwuemeka, once boys who had slept on bare mats, now commanded businesses that stretched from Onitsha to Lagos. They dealt in goods, employed hundreds, and funded schools. They had not set foot in Umucha since the night they were banished. While Ezenaya made the messengers wait, the Queen Mother summoned them in secret. In her chamber, she offered kola nut and water. You have asked for something that will not be given easily, she said, her voice low. The king will test you. The gods may test you more, but remember, what is yours will find you, whether you fight for it or not. After 2 Eke market days. Later, when the messengers returned, Ezenaya stood with his chief priests and the elders of Umuchara. The gods have spoken, the priest announced. The children may return if they wish it. Ezenaya's eyes narrowed. Umuachara does not chase back what it gave away. If they come, it will be by their own choice. Not because you begged. Letters were sent to each child met with cold hands. To Ebubechukwu, high above the clouds, on a flight to Dakar. To Chioma, in the middle of surgery. To Uchenna and Chukwuemeka, deep in negotiations at the Umucha market. The letters spoke of forgiveness, of home, of the land's need for them. Ebubechukwu read hers once, then tore it in two. Chioma set hers aside, her eyes wet, but her hands steady. Uchenna tossed his into the fire. Chukwuemeka folded his without a word. On the morning of the third Eke market day, the village square filled with people. They expected to see all four children walking together. Instead, a single car rolled into the square. From his steps, Ebubechukwu, dressed in black, her face unreadable. In her hands was a small calabash, which she placed at the base of the iroko tree. "I have come," she said, "not to stay but to warn. You think the past is buried. It is not. The evil that killed my father is not finished. The rain has come, but the storm still hides in the clouds." Before anyone could speak, she turned, entered her car, and drove away. The people stood in silence, the calabash glinting in the sun. That night, the oracle finally spoke. "You called them for healing, but the gods sent them to test you. One will return again, not to live, but to reveal a truth that will shake the land." The night after Ebubechukwu's warning, Umucha lay restless under a sky that refused to sleep. Her words clung to the air like the scent of smoke after a fire. You think peace has returned, but something is hiding beneath your joy. No one could forget them. The elders huddled together, torches flickering, their brows wet with sweat, though the air was cool. Questions were asked, but the oracle kept his silence. The priest Ezemuo moved about like a shadow, refusing food, refusing speech. On the third night, it came, a sound from the ancient shrine that had not been heard in 100 years. It was deep, slow, and alive, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Boom, boom, boom. The stone drum of Annie had awakened. In the old stories, it only beat for one reason: when a hidden truth was ready to rise. The people expected the next to arrive would bring comfort, but they were wrong. Out of the sky came the thundering blades of a helicopter. It landed in the square, not with songs or dancing, but with soldiers, journalists, and the unmistakable figure of Chioma. She stepped out dressed in white, holding a leather-bound journal against her chest. It was her mother Ugonma's diary. She stood before the people, her voice steady. "You wanted our feet to touch this soil, so here I am. But I do not come to dance. I come to speak." She lifted the book high. My mother kept everything: dates, names, secrets, the real story behind my father's death, and what the gods revealed to her before she passed. A hum of murmurs rose like bees disturbed in their hive. She opened the diary and read aloud. "There is a man still walking free in Umucha, a man who wore the fifth mask." Gasps shook the crowd. The priest had named 4, and 4 had been punished. The fifth was never seen, never judged, hidden in plain sight. Chioma's eyes scanned the faces before her, and I know who he is. At the edge of the crowd, a tall figure stiffened. Elder Akajiọfor, Ozonna's closest friend, the man who had comforted Ugonma after the banishment, the man who had stood at the Ozonna burial. Whispers hissed through the air. Chioma's voice cut through them like a blade. That is why no one suspected him. He cried with us, but his hands were stained. She read again. Mama wrote, "The man who held my hand the night Ozonna died, his palm smelled of red oil and fire. He was one of them." Akajiọfor broke into a run, but the youth chased him. They caught him by the riverbank. Pressed to the earth, he gasped for breath before whispering the truth. "Yes, I was the fifth, but I was not alone." The priest's voice came sharp. "Then who led you?" Akajiọfor said, lifting the head of Ozonna kingsmen, the Akajiọfor Nwankwo. The sacred ofo slipped from Ezemuo's hand. Even the wind seemed to hold itself still. "The man who cleansed the Umuna, the one who led the rituals in Ozonna family, is one of the hunters behind the crown." His eyes darkened. He raised his staff, lips parting to speak. But before the words could come, fire split the sky. A bolt of lightning struck the earth beside him, and from the shrine came a deafening crack as the stone drum shattered into dust. The ground trembled. Rats fled from holes in the shrine. Stones shifted, revealing a clay pot sealed with layers of hardened ash. Chioma stepped forward and took it in her hands. Mama spoke of this, the vessel of names. Inside was a scroll, the writing dark and brittle, traced in dried blood. 7 names, 4 dead, the 5th Akajiọfor, the 6th Nwankwo, the 7th blank, the 7th is blank. What does it mean? Someone whispered. It means, Chioma said, there's still one more, and this one is more powerful than all the others. That night, a black SUV rolled into Umucha without sound or fanfare. Chukwuemeka stepped out, his eyes heavy, his voice cold. Uchenna was not with him. I know the last name on that scroll, he said, and I know where to find it. Where? The people asked. Chukwuemeka looked upward, as if the answer hung in the stars. Not in this village, not even in this state. It's hiding in Onitsha, and it's wearing our father's face. The crowd stood frozen. The night seemed to draw in around them. Somewhere beyond the hills, a dog howled, and the wind carried the scent of rain, though the sky above was clear. The truth may slip, but it will not die. And in that moment, every heart in Umucha knew the storm had only just begun.